Hi everybody, and welcome to the introduction of our Global Conversation video module with Expat Ed. Again, my name is Paige and I'll be your expat educator. I just wanted to quickly go over the big picture with you in the introduction. Sometimes we get so lost in the small moments of what we get out of something. And if we do everything right, and that's really not what we're going for with these conversations, it's really looking at that big picture that if you put in these moments daily or weekly, there will be change that comes out of that, especially with your child and how they're able to critically analyze and have an open mind when it comes to such complex and different scenarios. So as a teacher, I wanted to include both teacher and parent side of the outcome here. So a teacher told me in my master's thesis interviews that they are interested in having the school help me with those full world situations in order to present to children. So ta-da! This resource is doing exactly that. I had quite a few interviews from my master's program, but this one summarizes the big picture where teachers do need support, you do need content, you do need real-world situations, and you do need convenience. And so my goal here is that you have a very convenient tool that gives you access across the world with me. From the parent side, they gave me a quote after doing it every single day for an entire school year. Their child is 10 years old and they did it with me, but here was their final takeaway from that. Through Expat Ed, my child was able to experience people from all over the world that she would normally not have access to. She also learned how to ask questions and be curious about other people and places. So again, children have a lot of access, but I'm going to distinguish Expat Ed from the rest of it in that I have experience and training and so much passion for this topic that I'm choosing things and I'm choosing videos and people very strategically, and I will be there to guide you through what the curriculum development looks like and what emotional intelligence looks like and how we can start to work our way through these big topics that will help children get to know themselves and other people around them in a different way, and that is through giving them access to people around the world. The purpose, I thought, was really well said by a parent. It helps them to better understand the world and how each individual fits into the world and relates to others. So of course, in one video, a child is not going to have this epiphany of realization that we're all so different, we speak different languages, our culture is so deeply rooted in us. Let's not start with expectation. Let's start with appreciation of being open to talk. We'll just start with these baby steps to get it started. And the more that you put in, it's kind of like muscle building at the gym, the more you put in the reps of having these conversations, like I did with my students every day for 15 to 20 minutes, they realize not only how they fit in with the parent side, but how they can add in. Bigger corporations are now using this with DEI training that they add in. We don't need to fit in some conforming figure, but we all have our differences, and as much as we can connect with our similarities, we do add in our different passions, our different goals, and that will create a very exciting conversation each day, getting to know each other on a deeper level rather than just our weekends and an opinion about a book, but actually having content from people around the world that will help them relate to each other, which is a very important skill given that we are so interconnected in our lives with digital access and just travel in general. You could go somewhere very far away very easily. And the impact. I took this quote from one of my 10-year-old students who also did the global conversation videos every day for a school year. And this student said, "I think differently about the world because I didn't really think the world was that interesting. But now I'm thinking every part of the world has a different culture and that's what makes it special." Oh my gosh. This was said after a month and a half. I was so impressed by how my students were talking and the engagement of conversation, as well as how it connected into their presentation skills, their reading, their writing analysis. I was so impressed, and this was what a child said from doing these videos. And so this is important because it doesn't take that long each day to really just expose a different world or the bigger world around us, right? Sometimes we get so caught up in our daily routines that it's hard to think outside of that. And so my goal is to give you a resource that will show the impact with students on how they think. And that is really awesome to have them express themselves and understand that they're just one small part of this big, big world. So let's reflect just for a moment, because I have so many quotes from parents and students. So let me just share those with you, because again, this is like the long-term outlook. I don't want us to get so caught up in what's changing right now, right away, but just remember that these quotes came from a lot of time already invested, a lot of time intentionally recognizing the importance of this, and just enjoying the conversations along the way. Because again, it's not just the child who will have these conversations, you will be a part of it and get to know them and they're thinking a lot better. And so it's really fun to get to know each other based on such global topics. So starting on the right with the parents' feedback, he has learned about topics we would never bring up at home. She has been able to verbalize her emotions and thoughts more clearly in a way that surprises me sometimes. Definitely changed in her ability to understand that others live and have different experiences. It gives them a shared experience with others that they may not have interactions with otherwise. And I hope that we can really visualize what this looks like, whether it's in a classroom or in a home environment, because if a child is given the time and space to critically analyze and then go through the scenario and think about these complex and basic emotions of how that changes, they're given so much opportunity to look at different stories and just process things with others that they don't normally do, right? Of course, we get in such habit of talking to the same people and we think that they know us the best, and so we don't share with other people. And really, this is an exposure to letting yourself talk to other people that you don't usually, or that's not as common. There might be between 20 and 35 kids in the class, and so let's bring this together to let different voices be heard on different topics. And then for a family, of course, it's just that shared experience that maybe you share with other people, or just, going deeper with topics. A couple other quotes on the left here from my students. It's fun to learn about all the different places people have lived and been and lived in. It's like a world of learning. Another student said, I really wish they did this in every class and grade. My second favorite thing was how you made us think. And something else that caught my eye from when I took these quotes is that my students were so focused on the fact that they're so expected to be right or wrong. Everything they do is like right or wrong. It's like you hit benchmark or you don't. You have the right answer or you don't. It's multiple choice. And really our world is so full of open-ended resources and answers. There's not just one correct answer. And so I think my students really appreciated the exposure to know that our world is really like that, and a grade is just because our schools require it, and standardized testing is just because our states and government require it, but really putting together these real world experiences of how these transferable skills pass through and make it relatable. So I just wanted to share these quotes as the long-term outlook of what we're looking for with expat ed. But again, appreciate the time that you put in, and don't expect a certain answer, because actually that one answer doesn't mean it's the right answer. Expecting listening is a great expectation. And respect in conversation. I go through this more with having an open mind in our conversation throughout these modules. I have an introduction of that, but just wanted to use this introduction to look at the purpose, the impact, and that big picture of what's coming down the line as you are consistent with this teaching tool. Even if you're a parent, this is a great teaching tool, and I hope to expose you more to what these curriculum standards are really doing along the way from K to 8th grade. All right, let's get started.